All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the last class of the season, Psychology of Trauma. Today, we will be going over chapter 15 of Waking the Tiger, the groundbreaking book written by Peter Levine. Um, Last, we went through chapter 13. Today, we could have gone chapter 14, but it's kind of a complex chapter. I will let you read it yourselves because the chapter 15 now talks about trauma in a bigger scale, in a societal and a collective level. I wanted to touch on that. And it has a very nice finale, and I want to finish the class, the semester, with that finale. A little bit of housekeeping. The final exam will be on the 20th of January at 5 o'clock p.m. The same way we did the other ones. You come to class, or you turn things on, and then either myself or my assistant will be here to give you the exam. It's the same thing, multiple choice questions, either 15 or 20 questions from chapter 11 all the way to chapter 17. So last exam was until chapter 10. This one will start from 11 and it goes all the way till the end of the book. Anything else? If you have any conflicts, you cannot make it to the exam because of valid reasons, like you have another exam, please let me know in an email and I will see what I can do with it. Several of your colleagues have asked to see if they could follow me on Instagram or on YouTube. I am preparing some educational material about trauma, about the nervous system, about the brain, and it will be available soon. If you want to follow, my address is m.o.yaygin. I am writing it in the chat box. So any questions, anything logistics, anything housekeeping? If not, I am going to start chapter 15. All right, folks. So collective trauma, societal trauma. Now, mankind, humans, us, we have been trying to cohabitate, meaning live together. We have been trying to live together since we left the hunter-gatherer model. At some point, we used to hunt animals and constantly be on the move. But for a long time, now we've been living in a stable way, in an immobile way in cities, and we have not learned how to live together yet. We are still learning, we are still developing, we're still growing as humans in the way to live together. Now, just living in this planet, just staying alive, causes lots of trauma, as you've been understanding in this class. And we as humans, we are constantly traumatized in different layers. Just by living, we are constantly exposed to wars, to people who profit from wars. We watch terrorism, we watch confusion on the political level, we watch poverty, economic ambiguity, we find dictators guiding our countries. It's just a very tough planet to live. It's a very different system. It's a difficult system to live. We have contagious diseases that are threatening us constantly. There's an information overload. There's social media. There's environmental disasters. There's global warming. This past summer, we lost many forests due to fires. I mean, it's just, we're constantly being traumatized. Like we're watching immigrants from poor countries getting drowned in sea. And the worst of it is that we're not working together to solve these problems. We're not cooperating to improve our situation. Rather, we live in a world led by sociopathic, narcissistic leaders that divide us further and further, that work on destroying our world, and we just sit and watch in shock and in trauma. Now, up until now, we have spoken about the trauma on an individual level, right? The reenactment of trauma, the formation of trauma. Right now, we are going to go to the collective level a little bit. But before we do this, we'll do a little quick review. As you remember, we all have incomplete self-protective impulses locked inside our bodies. Our organisms are constantly trying to find homeostasis by releasing the discharge, discharging the charge, the releasing the tension by completing these responses. We're all trying to belong to groups, and we all seek approval of others. Now, let's start, just like in every other chapter, by looking at animals. We know that animals have aggression in their behaviors as they are looking for food, as they are trying to protect their children, as they're trying to protect their territory, right? Aggression is a very, very natural, very healthy, very common feature of animals. Animals attack the ones that are not from their species and kill them. Carnivores eat other animals, even in play. Cats hurt other animals, dogs hurt other animals. So there's a lot of aggression in outside of species, in between species. But when it comes to interspecies, animals do not kill each other. The nature draws a line there. Animals, they work on creating a hierarchical structure, who's the leader, who's the alpha, but they don't kill each other. There are fights, but when one party shows dominance, the other party shows submission and says, enough, I accept your lead, I accept your hierarchical uh, dominance, and I give up, I submit, I leave, right? So when two animals from the same species, they fight, the fight ends when one of them says, enough, I give up. And you can see it in animals' body language. I chose these three pictures because they show very clear and distinct body language. If you look at the first one, you have uh, I think it's a Macau monkeys. The white one on the background with an angry big red face is the alpha male. After beating or after showing aggression, the two other monkeys, they submit, they roll down, and then they lay down. They're showing that I'm not fighting with you anymore. There's no point. I accept your dominance. In the second one, between two polar bears, you can clearly see who's the dominant one and who's the one who gave up. The one who submits and says, enough, don't beat me up anymore, has a body posture. It's crouched. You look at this butt, its tail, it's between his legs. And the dominant one is standing like a tower over this one. And if you look at the third picture, you can see the same posture as these other animals, the monkey and the bear. The butt is crouched in, the tail is tucked between the legs, and it's walking away in shame, right? So when in animals, someone from your tribe, your group shows this posture, you know that the fight is over. There's no need. So these are signals that are actually universal. They are encoded in animals' DNAs. When they're born, they kind of know this instinctually. So they don't kill each other, and they have to cooperate. And they have learned to cooperate throughout the evolution because it helps them raise their babies together. It helps them find safety against other animals. It helps them find food in the group, right? So they have needs, and cooperation helps them. The one who loses the fight, accepts the defeat, so they don't hurt each other more than necessary. Dogs, they fight each other to hurt each other a little bit, not to destroy each other, not to kill each other. So even if they had weapons, they wouldn't use it to destroy each other. But if you look at the aggression in humans, it's very, very different. On the individual level, we have a lot less aggression, but when we start to live in big groups, in more populated groups, in cities, in countries, in nations, uh, you see that people, they torture each other, they kill each other, they steal from each other. There's rape and violence and genocides. It gets crazy when the numbers go up. It's very difficult to control that. So if you remember trauma at the individual level, there is the fight or flight energy, right? At your level, at one-on-one level, there's a mobilized energy. And when that energy is stuck on the inside, we start to feel threatened. We start to feel like, oh my God, there's danger. Even if there's no danger, I'm looking for danger because I'm tense and I'm feeling edgy. So if you take this understanding and magnify it on a bigger scale, on a bigger level, you realize that um, we get triggered as individuals, but we get triggered as societies as well, right? For ages, there's wars and there's fear and separation and judgment and animosity. It goes from generation to generation, from generation to generation on a much bigger scale. It's like we inherit this from the other generations. Now, we will look at the trauma in a bigger scale. When the nervous system gets activated, we look for the source of the threat, right? Even if there's no danger on the outside, on the inside, there's an alarm bell that keeps ringing. And as a result of that, there's reenactment, right? Things repeat themselves over and over and over again. We get attracted to these situations. We get pulled to these same traumatizing things. So we become traumatized over and over and again. And that's the same thing that happens in groups, in larger groups, in societies. Imagine a society, a country that has had a trauma and there's a stress-related disorder. You know, there's a PTSD after trauma in a societal level. We've all been traumatized by war. So the same thing will reenact itself unless we become conscious of it. You see all these ethnic groups that live in the same geography. They might have a different language, they might have a different religion, but they're very similar to each other. They might have a different color of skin, but they fight all the time because the trauma is waiting to reenact itself. Do you remember last lesson we were talking, and Peter Levin was saying most of human behavior is just illogical. We just act out our incomplete defensive responses and we're not reasonable, we're not logical. So societies, groups, when they're threatened, they look to find a threat, and the threat is something outside of themselves. It's the other. It's the other group that's the threat, right? So it's not a neocortex thing, that's a very subconscious thing. I am not dangerous, but the other ones are dangerous. Oh, Muslims, we're good. Christians are the dangerous ones. Oh, Turkish people, we're okay. The Kurds are dangerous. Oh, Kurdish people, we're okay. The Turks are dangerous. The English, oh, the Irish are dangerous. For the Irish, the English are dangerous. You see the people from Afghanistan and India, you won't know the difference between them. They're so similar physically, the way they behave. But to the Indians, the Afghans are the enemy. To the Afghans, the Indians are the enemy. The same thing was happening between Iran and Iraq for decades when I was younger. I'm still young, by the way. So there's a impulse to find the danger on the other side, on the other group. That you can even find it in big football matches. You go into a football match, everybody roots for Galatasaray, and the ones from Fenerbahce, if you meet them, you want to beat them up, and they're violence, and they deserve it. They're horrible. That kind of mindset, the illogical, unreasonable mindset, grabs people when they're in the groups. So two subgroups, two societies, they become enemies. And when they're enemies, there's killing, there's maiming, there's an illogical desire to hurt the others. And then they destroy their dreams, they destroy their hopes. The neighbors start to destroy each other, but they're also destroying their futures. Right? So when trauma reenacts, it breeds more trauma. More trauma is born. And war is a very complex concept. It's very difficult to say wars happen because of this one thing. It's preposterous. But there's always this tendency of groups turning against each other. And this pattern has been repeating itself for thousands of years in each geography and everywhere. And our leaders use this to divide people and to govern them. Remember the Serbia, what happened in Serbia. You see what's happening between whites and blacks. They live in the same country, they have the same culture, but they're so divided. You look at the Arabs and the Israelis, they live in the same little geography. You look at us, the Turks, you know what's happening between different ethnic subgroups. Um, and you look at even the people that believe in the same religion, the Sunnis and the Shiites, they believe in the same God and the same prophet, but they're constantly against each other. So when people get into this threatened mode and war mode, not on an individual level, but on a society level, then violence also is magnified, right? And that violence, that anger, that unexpressed self-protection, the anger, the rage, expresses itself in unimaginably horrible ways. There's rapes, there's murder, there's poverty, there's there's hunger, there's racism, and corruption and torture. All these are behaviors that come from a traumatized societies. And unfortunately, there's no way of escaping this. It infiltrates at every level of living societies. Now, babies. If you think of babies, babies come into this world like a blank slate. Blank slate meaning it's like a white page with no information, just ready to receive information so that they can be programmed, they can get ready for the next 100 years. So babies, when they are born, they start to swim in this ocean of emotional atmosphere. And they start to copy, they start to model everything that they see around them. If they are born into homes of traumatized parents, they have no way of understanding or imagining anything different. So they grow up with lack of confidence, lack of trust, lack of safety, lack of connection, lack of bonding. And if the house they are born in has a sense of threat in the world, they also grow up thinking that the world is a dangerous place and they have to be on their toes all the time, right? So traumatized families, traumatized neighborhoods, traumatized countries, they breed more fear, more shame, more triggered, more negative kinds of behaviors. when you look at an adult and you see their general way of being in the world, whether they're scared, whether they're shameful, whether they're happy, it all has to do with the house that they're born in, the neighborhood that they're born in, the country that they're born in, right? Because babies, they start from a very early age to watch their parents, to model after their parents. What kind of a man is my father? Is he judging everyone? Does he have love towards everyone? What kind of a woman is my mother? Is she courageous? Is she able to look at the problems in its face and solve them? How do they treat each other? How do they treat me? How do they treat the world? Do they feel like there are enemies around? Do they feel like the Greeks are the enemies, or the Americans are the enemies, or the Muslims are the enemies, right? They start to copy everything and model after their parents. So the babies, when they become children, then become teenagers, and they become young people, and they become adults, it's all a product of their environment. The atmosphere that they live in emotionally and socially, that forms their behaviors, that forms their thoughts, their feelings and their impulses, right? So far, any questions? Is it clear so far? Yammer, thank you. Okay. Now, so babies are very important in that sense. Thank you, Nilüfer. Very, very, very important in that sense, because babies can help transforming and healing the societal trauma. Um, we were talking about healing trauma on the individual level. Now we will be talking healing trauma in a societal level. Who has read chapter 15? There's an experiment that's being conducted in Norway. Have you guys read the book yet? Oh no, we haven't read the book. We'll just read it one day before the final. Selina said she has read it last year. Okay, great. Selina, do you remember the Norwegian experiment? Oh, okay. So then, okay, I'm not going to pass it fast. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth. Um, we were talking about how we can't solve things with our neocortex, but we have to go to the body level. Remember, I was talking about bottom-up approach. You start from the bottom, and then you can go up. The same thing is being done in the societal level in Norway. It's a fascinating, it's a beautiful, beautiful experiment. It's very emotional, very touching. It takes the philosophy that says, in order to break societal trauma, in order to break separation, division, hate, uh, prejudice, we have to start with children, because they are the ones that will help us bridge between different subgroups, between different cultures, between the divisions. And we have to educate children before they take on the stupid habits that adults have, the stupid thoughts and dividedness and separation and traumas. So we have to interfere with kids as early as possible. So in Norway, there is this experiment where they gather a bunch of women from different subgroups, from Muslims and Christians, and from Irish and English, and from uh, Russians and Germans, like people that don't like each other, they have a prejudice each other. They gather a bunch of women with their kids, with their babies. So they invite them into a big room, and the women make a big circle around the room with some therapists, with moderators, with facilitators in the room. And the women take their kids with them in their laps, and one by one, they are asked to sing nursery rhymes to their kids. You know what a nursery rhyme is? In Turkish, it's ninni. These are soft melodies, calming, sweet melodies designed to calm the nervous system. So as women sing these rhythmic musical things, it starts to get the attention of the children. the children start to be interested in the music. So the therapists come in and they give some musical instruments to the kids and to their mothers so they can accompany, they can be engaged to the music. Now, please remember the somatic philosophy. We were talking about it. In the ancient culture, there's rhythm. And rhythm is something that's contagious. And rhythm, it has to do with healing. Remember in the primal tribes, there are rituals. And on the rituals, there's beating on the drums, there's singing together, there's dancing together. That's a healing thing, right? In many cultures in Latin America and in South America, there's rituals with plant medicine, with ayahuasca. Shamans sing songs to the soul of the people, right? In shamanic traditions, there's a lot of singing. In Sufism, there's tasawwuf music, and people sing together and dance together and pray together while singing. So there's something about rhythm, and it catches everybody. Remember when you go to the concerts, remember when you go to the discos, remember when you go to the events, when there's music, everybody moves together and sings together and clap together. In games, in football games, we sing together, we clap together, there's a rhythm. So it's something that's collective, that binds people, that connects people. And we don't even know these people that we sing with or dance with. We don't have a neocortex contract with them. It's a much deeper thing that connects people. So it's an instinctual bonding thing without negotiation from the neocortex. So children are born with this capacity, and we know this. So now in this experiment, we're going to manipulate this in a very beautiful way. So the children are beating the drums, women are singing together, and something happens, and children start to show signs of happiness. They start to smile, they start to wiggle, they start to dance a little bit. And women are wired this way. When they see that their children are healthy, when they see that their children are happy, they're enjoying themselves, the women start to relax. They start to feel these feelings of safety and connection, right? And the women's bodies are now releasing oxytocin and serotonin, like these happy hormones. So they start to enjoy themselves, and they start to feel some kind of trust within that circle to these people that they didn't trust before, right? And when the neocortex's division starts to melt, people start to connect on a human level. So the babies start to move, they start to go towards the women who sing, they meet other babies and they start playing with each other. Funny things, goofy things happen, and the babies are sharing these experiences and the mothers are starting to laugh and smile. So it's like we're attacking the neocortex with weapons of subconsciousness. Do you understand that? The neocortex is being flooded with feelings of trust and happiness, and it cannot stay coherent in division and separation and animosity. It starts to melt, right? So when these baby mothers, they see that their babies, they're working together, they're playing together, and their babies go to other mothers and they're being treated well, there's so much happiness in the room. These women, they start to remember that we're all the same. There are all these divisions, all these barriers about religion and ethnicity and skin color and all of that bullshit. It starts to melt, and the fear starts to melt, the shame starts to melt, and these women start to smile at each other for the very first time. It's very difficult to explain how important this transformation is at this level. I'm getting emotional as talking about this. So in the room, the barriers melt and people are treating each other. They're looking at each other, they're smiling to each other, they shake each other's hands, they touch each other. And then the therapists, the facilitators, they divide the group into subgroups of 2, 3, 4. And in these little groups, these women, they start to connect even more. They show each other tricks about their babies. Their babies start to play and their mothers start to smile at each other. And then this culture of fear and hate and separation starts to end. And people start to connect from their hearts. They're bonding, they're smiling. And at the end of the day, when they leave this experiment, they leave with their souls opened up. They're happy, they're trusting again. They go back to their communities with this energy, and they become reference points for bonding again. When they go back to their own communities, they start to transform their own communities. They're motivated to share their experiences. So some of these women who are motivated, they can be trained to become therapists and moderators so that they can take these programs into their communities. So this energy can start to grow and spread. And then imagine at some point we can start getting pregnant women into these programs, women with older children, with teenagers. We can include their fathers. So this experiment can grow and grow and grow with an intention of helping people live in harmony. So we need to have this intention, we need to have this motivation to move in that direction. And for this change to happen, for the societal change to happen, individuals need to start taking responsibility, right? We need to volunteer to work. We need to volunteer to move in that direction, because we have been living side by side with so much trauma, with so much fear, so much prejudice, and it keeps getting worse in that direction. So we need to actually realize this and think in the way that we're talking about, and then be motivated to change it. We need to be motivated to take responsibility. Because if we can do this for ourselves and for the other generations, that's how the world can start to heal. The reason there is so much trauma in the world, I've been talking about from the very beginning, is because we live in a traumatized society. In so many levels, there's emotional trauma, there's financial trauma, there's social trauma. And when the society we live in carries so much trauma, it's impossible to escape trauma. Like I said, trauma infiltrates everywhere. So we need to understand this, be conscious, and take responsibility in changing it. All right, guys, that is all I have for today. I think this was a very beautiful experiment, and I wanted to finish the class. I wanted to finish the semester with a positive, hopeful little touch. Any questions, anything you'd like to share before I end the class? I hope it was clear today. Nothing to say. Okay. All right. Well, that's it, folks. I'm really hoping that you've enjoyed the class. So there's some nice comments. Yağmur, Elif, Alp, Ceylan. Thank you very much. Thank you, Fatiha. I hope that you've enjoyed the class. I hope that you've learned something. I hope that you've learned to think about things in that way. Thank you. Thank you, Elif. Thank you, Fatiha. I appreciate your nice comments. And yep, that's it. I wish you guys all the best in the rest of the semester, in the rest of your careers, in the rest of your year, in the rest of your lives. Hope things go well with you. Hope things go well for you, and all the best. All the best. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. All right. We will see you in about 2 weeks or so. There was a question from someone. Önümüzdeki dönem seçmeli dersimiz olacak mı? Elif, I don't think I will give anything next semester, but next year I'm planning on giving another class. Not the psychology of trauma, but another class I'm designing called psychology of emotion. What is an emotion? Why do we have emotions? What kind of emotions do we have? How do emotions regulate our society? How to process emotions. So something a little bit more specific on emotions I'm planning on giving next year, and it should be in English again. All right. Sorry about that, Ece. Just follow me on Instagram. I'm sure we'll you can find something from my offerings. All right. So there was a question. Who had the question, please? Let me see. Selinay. I'm going to end the recording, so maybe we can speak in Turkish. All right. Bye, everyone. Durun bakayım. İngilizce konuşan kimse kalmadıysa Türkçe konuşabiliriz. Anybody that speaks English and not Turkish? Yok anacığım. Herkes Türk. Evet arkadaşlar. Biraz daha oturabilirim. Söylemek istediğiniz bir şeyler varsa. Evet Selinay'cığım. Mikrofonu açık konuşabilirsin. Dinliyorum ben seni.
Herkes gider diye düşünmüştüm ama. Okay.
Canım birazcık yüksek sesle
Geliyor mu
konuşabilir
sesim
misin ya da
hocam?
mikrofona yaklaş. Şimdi geliyor.
Evet,
Güle
herkes
güle Ececiğim.
gider diye düşünmüştüm de.
Sen teke tek konuşmak istiyordun.
Yani hani çok özel bir şey söylemeyeceğim ama başlayayım.
Tamam.
Hocam şöyle, ben şu an Mülteciler Derneği'nde staj yapıyorum.
Hangi dernekte?
Mülteciler Derneği'nde zorunlu staj yapıyorum.
Ha.
Ve bir süredir
Zorunlu
burada
derken zorla mı yaptırıyorlar yani zorunlu
yok
demek?
hocam. Yani son yılımız ya hani zorunlu bir stajımız
Ha,
var.
sizin staj mecburiyetiniz var anladım.
Evet, ben de zaten bu alanda bir staj yapmak istiyordum. Okulumuzda ilk defa bu Mülteciler Derneği ile bir anlaşma yapmış. Ben de kabul ettim seve seve ve bir süredir de burada bir araştırma yapmak istiyorum. Konu hakkında bayağı bir düşündüm açıkçası ve e, somatizasyona karar verdim hocam. Mültecilerde somatizasyon araştırmayı düşünüyorum. Sizin de böyle
Sesin biraz zayıf geliyor. Biraz da yaklaşır mısın mikrofona?
şu an iyi mi
Mültecilerde
hocam?
somatizasyon. Şimdi daha iyi. Ha.
Evet. Mültecilerde somatizasyon araştırmayı düşünüyorum. Konu üzerine bayağı düşündüm hocam ama benim böyle psikosomatik şeylere ilgim var. Geçen yıl okudum demiştim hatta az önce kitabı. Bir mindset eğitimi falan da almıştım ve hani ilgim var. O yüzden bu konuda karar kıldım. Ama bir
Hı,
takım böyle sıkıntılarımız çıktı. Bir
hı,
testimiz var hocam. Somatizasyon testimiz var.
hı.
Halihazırda bulunan bir KPI diye bir somatizasyon testi var. Bilmiyorum biliyor musunuz? Bunu ben Arapçaya
KPI ne
çevirip
demek KPI?
KPI sanırım İngilizce kısaltılması hocam. Türkçesi modifiye somatik algılama anketi. Ankette hiç olmadı, çok az oldu, fazla oldu, çok fazla, çok sık oldu gibi. İşte kalp çarpıntısı, ateş basması, aşırı terleme gibi böyle
Ha.
şeyler var. Ve ben bunu düşündüm. İşte böyle bunu bir tercümanla Arapçaya çeviririz. Ve sonrasında işte sabahtan bir gireriz. Sağlık merkezi katımız var bizim Mülteciler Derneği'nde ve sabah işte 9'dan akşam 5'e kadar anketi yapabildiğimiz kadar kişiye yaparız. Sonrasında da bir şekilde yorumlarız vesaire falan diye düşünmüştüm. Ama bunu Arapçaya çevirme kısmında bir sıkıntı oldu. Bunun geçerliliği ve güvenilirliği kısmında bir hocamız
Hı.
söyledi yine. Bunu zaten Arapçaya çevrilmiş bir test olması gerekiyor ve bunun zaten geçerliliğinin ve güvenilirliğinin yapılmış olması gerekiyor. O yüzden ResearchGate'de bir Suriyeli araştırmacı bulmamı önerdi hocam benim.
ResearchGate'te bir Suriyeli araştırmacı bulmanı önerdi.
Evet, yani bu
Hı,
somatizasyonda çalışmış. Zaten bu somatizasyon testi Arapçaya çevrilmiş mi? Bu konularda bilgi alabileceğim bir Suriyeli araştırmacı bulmamı söyledi. Bu
hı.
konuda bilmiyorum sizin bana önerileriniz neler? Bu anketi biz nasıl yorumlayabiliriz? Ya da hani neler yapmamız gerekiyor? Sizin de böyle bu konuda sanırım tezleriniz vesaire var diye biliyorum. Yanlış mı biliyorum bilmiyorum ama e, yani fikrinizi almak istedim bu konuda neler yapabiliriz. Çok fazla şu an engelle karşılaştık. Biraz Suriyeli
Ha.
araştırmacı bulmaya çalıştık. Biraz daha yoğunlaşacağız. Şimdi final haftamızdan dolayı daha da yoğunlaşamadık hocam ama e, varsa tavsiyeleriniz, önerileriniz herhangi bir konuda dinlemek isterim açıkçası bu konuda.
Eh, evet. Valla şey bir konu bu. Yani bir kere amacın iyi belirlenmesi lazım. Yani bu testi Arapçaya çevirip bu testi yapacaksın
Evet.
ve bundaki amaç ne? Yani buradan aldığın veriler doğrultusunda nasıl müdahale edebiliriz, nasıl yardımcı olabiliriz diye bir
Hayır, biz bir
e,
makale yazmak istiyoruz hocam. Makalemizi sunabiliriz,
ha,
yayınlatabiliriz şeklinde. Araştırmamızın yapılış amacı bu makale yazmak ya da sunmak, bunu bir dergide yayınlamak, yüksek lisans için yardımcı
hmm,
olacağını düşünüyoruz. E, O yüzden yapılış amacı bu, yoksa bir müdahale etmek vesaire değil. Oradaki uzman klinik psikologlarda da konuştum. Mültecilerde çok sık rastlanan bir durum hocam, somatizasyon. Birazcık araştırdım. O yüzden
anladım.
böyle bir araştırma yapmak istedim.
Valla e, ya benim yoğunlaştığım alan biraz daha saha. Yani araştırma yazmak ve araştırma yapmak, makale yazmak çok spesifik bir konu. Yani ben çok fazla oraya enerji vermiyorum. Benim işim biraz uygulama yapmak ve ya somatizasyon benim konum. O tip araştırmalardan elde edilen verileri biliyorum. Fakat bu nasıl bir araştırmaya çevrilir? Orada çok bilemiyorum. Yani eğer ki uygulama konusunda benden yardım isteseydim ben derdim ki çok fazla e, prosedür takip edip yurt dışından resmi bir şey bulmanıza gerek yok. Herhangi bir Arap tercüman tercüme etsin. Siz mümkün olduğu kadar data toplamaya çalışın sahada derdim. Ama işi araştırmaya çevirip de makale yazmaya gelince evet bir sürü işte ethical
Evet,
işte prosedürler olacak. O iş biraz daha karışık bir iş. Valla
evet hocam.
istiyorsan bununla ilgili soruların böyle spesifik bir şekilde getirebilirsen şimdi biraz geniş bir çerçeveden sordum bana. Yani ne
Ya
yapabiliriz
hocam, ben
dediğinde
anketi nasıl yorumlayacağımızı bilmiyorum. Ben biraz daha araştırma
şey
kısmına
yapabilir
yoğun.
misin? Selina istiyorsan bana bir e-mail yaz. Yani
Tabii
sorularını
ki.
e, daha doğrusu bu kafandakileri soru olacak şekilde formüle et.
Tamam,
Bana bir e-mail yaz. Ben ona cevap
tamam.
yazayım ya da belki bir iki arkadaşıma sorabilirim. Onlar mültecilerle çalışıyorlar, sokak çocuklarıyla çalışıyorlar gene Maltepe Üniversitesi'nden. Belki
Evet,
onların yaptıkları, e, onların deneyimlerinden yararlanabilir. Seni belki bir iki kişiyle iletişime geçirebilirim.
iyi
Onlar
olur
sana
hocam.
kendi deneyimlerinden nasıl bir yol izleyeceğini gösterebilirler. Olur mu öyle?
Çok iyi hocam. Süper olur. Ben size mailinizi alabilir miyim?
Tabii tabii. Ben e-mailimi hemen yazayım chatbox'a mı yazayım, ne yapayım?
Evet,
myaygın@yahoo.com.
tamam hocam. Tamam. Süper hocam. Çok teşekkür ederim. Ben size mail atacağım.
Rica ederim
E,
canım ve tebrik
tamam.
ediyorum böyle bir inisiyatif aldığın için. Bravo sana.
Teşekkür ederim hocam. Sağ olun. Tamam. Ben teşekkür
Tamamdır.
ederim. Tamam
Rica
hocam. O
ederim,
zaman
rica ederim.
görüşürüz o zaman. Tamam. Bu arada
Tamamdır.
dersiniz çok keyifliydi hocam. Teşekkür ederiz her şey için.
Ah canım çok teşekkür